Amy Woodward is in the house.
Happy to have you.
Thanks for making the trek.
How was the border lineup coming across?
It was fine. Nexus is a dream.
Oh, you do have Nexus.
Yeah, baby. I just flash
Oh.
that
You guys-
card
you
and I
guys
come
go
through.
through.
How much is it?
I think it's like $50.
A year?
No, like 4 or 5 years.
It's only $50 for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
See,
It's ridiculous not to have it.
And you guys,
Yeah.
And
you guys
get to feel
cross-
super smug as you drive by and you just like flash your card out the window and everybody's angry because you get to go first.
How many people do you think abuse that?
A lot.
Right. So that's the one question I have always had about it is how do they regulate? You know,
Well,
once
it's a-
somebody has it, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, no, once you have it, it's based on the honor system.
Oh.
Because people that go across so many times, I mean, clearly I have family and I have a need to come across the border more frequently than somebody who just wants to buy gas, milk, and cheese.
definitely.
So, you know,
You're going back and forth quite a bit, aren't you?
I try to, but I need to go visit Mom more often.
It's tough. She comes down
So
quite a
do
bit.
you.
I've contacted her occasionally, but I know I need to get out there more. But yeah,
Yeah, it makes
so-
it easy.
So you didn't have to bring the kids?
No, the kids are spoken for. They're all
Nice.
entertained. Yes, so there's not the total craziness of.
yeah, when you said you were bringing 3 kids, I was like, oh, sorry, Ashley.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. It would have been tough to have them there, but I think my mom
We'll
would have
just let her
stuck
find
around
out
if
when she
the
gets here.
kids were there. But
Yeah.
We got a bucket of toys.
They're good. They're swimming. They're with friends. They're birthday parties. They're having a good time.
Yeah. So a big part of this for us
Yes.
is doing some fundraising for the Gateway Hope Salvation Army.
Yes.
And you are the executive director of Pass the Hat.
That's a fact.
Why don't you tell us a
And
little bit
that
about
rhymes.
that?
Pass the Hat is something that's so special to me. It's so dear to my heart. And it all culminated out of something that was really kind of, it's a bit of a heart song and there's a bit of a story that goes behind it, but we can get into that, as we continue on. But that's the fact that I've been the executive director. I think we're coming up on a year now. It was super organic the way that it came about. And there is a gentleman named Galen Emmanuel who created Pass the Hat. And he created it nearly 4 years ago. And they were looking for a new director because Galen also runs a really successful company. And he needed to move out of state for that company. He didn't want to leave Pass the Hat behind, but it was an opportunity to be able to make that shift and bring somebody else in and continue the momentum that he had created for the first few years. So we had mutual friends, and somebody contacted me and said, hey, they're looking for somebody who's the new director. Can I give him your number? And sometimes things come along where you don't even think about it. Of course you can. There's no weighing the pros and cons. Gosh, do I have the time to do this? It's really something I have,
You take it on and find a way to make it work.
Right. Because I knew about Pass the Hat since the day it was created and went live. And I had signed up for it immediately. And I think that's the kind of people that we attract, or people that hear about what we're doing and say, oh my gosh, I have to do this. This is a no-brainer.
To contribute to that, it's $2 a month.
Absolutely.
So
right.
It's nothing.
Right. So I had known about Pass the Hat from signing up from it, from inception, and had followed their growth. And so when it came to me to say, hey, do you want to have a conversation with Galen about, taking this over, it was a no-brainer. So Galen and I actually met, and we discovered that he had created, and this is where it gets kind of emotional for me, and this is like where you have to do what you can't not do. That's
I can grab some tissue.
no, I'm good. She gave me a blanket.
Just trying the last one, so I should
Did
grab
she?
some and bring them in.
No, that's awesome. So it was in 1997. My husband and I actually were living in Ferndale, and we heard a car crash that happened just down the road from us, and I could hear the pileup happening, and it was car after car after car, and it was an icy night, and it was super hard to hear, and I ran inside to my husband and said, you need to go. I heard this, and my husband is somebody who runs toward danger instead of away from it. This was before he was an officer, and he, of course, gets in the car and he goes, because we can hear where it is on the road right behind our house, and it was faster to take the car. And when he got there, he realized that nobody else had stopped at this point. It was a multiple car pileup in the middle of the freeway, in the middle of I-5. And what he found there was people who were, had been in the collision were in shock, obviously. And he went immediately to a young man who was standing in the middle of the road, and his brother was dying in the car next to them. And there was nothing that Jeremy could do to save his life. He was so badly damaged by the collision. And it was, like I say, it was before he was a police officer. He'd never had that experience before. That was so emotional for him to come home at the end of the night. Like after all said and done, there was nothing he could have done to save his life.
Right.
There was nothing he could have done. So all he could do was stand there in the middle of the road with this young man who was watching his brother pass away before his very eyes, which I can't imagine.
I couldn't even imagine.
I can't imagine.
Not even.
So he came home that night, and he, clearly was so moved by that experience and shared that with me, and I was so moved by that experience. And, it was the days before the internet. There wasn't any kind of immediate, find out what the information was and look at all the details and who was it and what was the cause. Mm-hmm. We didn't read about it in the paper afterward. We didn't know whatever happened to this survivor or who that young man was that passed away in that crash that day. And I get all shaky, like you hear me getting emotional about it. It's a big deal. So a lot of years passed by, and we had always thought about that, but it was just in the back of our heads. So the first day that Pass the Hat released their promo video, when they first became, a go, because they had spent so much time doing the research and development, like R&D takes a year, and then when they finally come online, it's like they want to do that Facebook push, right? Mm-hmm. The promo video came out, and I was sitting on my computer, and my girlfriend messaged me, and she said, "Amy, I'm so excited. Like, I'm on the board for this new organization. Here's our new promo video. I want you to watch this. Sign up." Mm-hmm. And I clicked play on that video, and there was this man, and he starts out and says, on December 17th, 1998, I believe it was, my brother was killed in a car accident. And I thought, oh my God, this is him. This is him. This is the young man. Mm-hmm. It was December 17th, 1998. And
you had never heard anything else about it until that point.
And I had never heard anything else. I had no idea. And it had been, 15 years previous, or however many years previous. And I was floored. And so I found him on Facebook, and I sent him a message, and I said, "Listen, you don't know me from Adam, but I just saw your video. I just realized that I had signed up for Pass the Hat 3 months previous. Right. Like the video, it had been a couple of months since I had signed up, since the first day had come out. And I said, I signed up for Pass the Hat the first day I heard about it, because it was so amazing. Like, it was incredible that I could do this. It was brilliant. It was genius. And I believe in it so much already from day one, like it was that clear. And now I click play on this video, and there you are. And it's you. And you don't know, but it was my husband that stood with you in the middle of the road that night. Yeah. I sat on my porch, and I listened to the sounds that took your brother. I was right there with you.
Just a very experienced.
Oh, I started to shake. Yeah. It was that full circle universe moment, Mm-hmm. And so I had to share that with him, and I had to let him know that we'd been thinking about him for all of these years. And I was so thrilled to see that he had taken something that was so painful and full of agony and turned it into something that was beauty and positive. Light and
being able to help.
Right.
Yeah. How many supporters do you guys have?
So it goes one step further.
Okay. Sorry.
After we had that conversation, that's okay. No. It's just, I was so excited at that time to connect with him. And then a couple of years passed by. And so when I was contacted by my girlfriend to say, "Hey, I know you've always been a supporter of Pass the Hat. We're looking for a new director. Can I give, Galen your number?" So of course, because having that experience, previously, of course. So Galen and I texted back and forth. We hadn't talked face to face. After that message, that was, a few years had passed, and it was great to connect, and that was it, right? So we met at a local coffee shop, and we went upstairs and we sat down, and he said, you know, okay, this is what we're looking for. We need somebody, this is what, you know, the directorship will look like. And I stopped him in the middle of the conversation after, you know, a couple of minutes, and I said, Galen, do you know who I am? Yeah, you're Amy, and we texted, and this is, you know, and I said, no, it's me. I'm the one that messaged you a few years ago about what happened the night that Keegan died, and it was my husband. And it doesn't matter what this takes. It doesn't matter how hard this job is going to be. The details are irrelevant. You don't have to convince me. You don't have to explain to me what this is going to look like. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. This is bigger than me.
How was that for him?
Incredibly emotional.
I bet.
Yeah.
And
just
he
that
and
connection.
Absolutely. And he not knowing who I was, and him making the connection that it was me that had messaged him a few years previously and said, you know, like, this, I'd been thinking about you all these years. So for he and I to sit in the middle of a coffee shop and, you know, have a good cry and realize that this was serendipity. I'm a big believer in serendipity and
Fate.
having, those full circle moments that come where you realize that this is where I'm meant to be. This is, you know, a gift coming from the universe, and I'm going to move forward with this. And I might completely, you know, and it brings you to your next question about how many supporters we have. I might completely screw this up.
I doubt it.
I've never run a charity before, but how could I not? How could I not?
Is it based Ferndale or Bellingham?
So the beauty of Pass the Hat is that we're county based. So in the States, we have our counties, you know, like we have in our Whatcom County, we have Blaine, Ferndale, Bellingham, Linden, Custer. You know, we have a bunch of little towns that are together.
Right.
So the beauty about Pass the Hat, what's our mission? Our mission is many hands make light work. And every contributor that signs up to give $2 a month on a recurring payment on a debit or credit card, that $2 a month goes into our bank account. And every month we have an appropriations committee that meets, and we have our intakes that come directly from our Whatcom County support officers who work directly with us in our board as well as our appropriations committee. And what happens is, if the minute anybody dials 911 in Whatcom County, we're going to know about it.
Okay.
And when the families are in a position where they're in a traumatic circumstance and they don't have the means, oftentimes it's people who have passed away and they don't have insurance, they don't have any other means to pay for any kind of, you know, funeral circumstances or hardship circumstances. Those are the families that we help. So there is an application process where they do work to apply for funds. We work primarily with families that, you know, I can't stress enough. There are families who, when tragedy happens, there's GoFundMes and fundraisers and other groups that can rally around families and help them out in situations. They're so fortunate and blessed to have that. Like, if something ever happened to me, forbid, my family has the means to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, like we have the means, and our mission is to help the families that don't. So the people that aren't in the newspaper, the people that don't have the wide circle of friends around them to help to comfort them during that time. So we distribute our funds every month. We have a committee that meets, and we go over all of our cases and decide where we're going to put those funds.
Do you guys have a saved amount of money, or do you disperse everything you have monthly?
It depends on how many cases come in. So for a couple of months, like if we don't have a case that comes up for last month and the month before, those monthly contributions sit in the savings account. For the next month, we might have, 7 cases come in, and we don't have enough to distribute.
Yeah.
So
You do what you can.
we do what we can.
Like that.
Absolutely.
Fair
And
enough.
sometimes it's really hard when we don't have enough, if we have more cases than we have funds. And that's when it comes to us, asking our friends and family to sign up. And people, what's really beautiful about it is that people want to do well. People want to help. They want to do something, And this is the very smallest way that you can do something.
Yeah,
That's exactly-
realistically $24 a year. That's
Absolutely.
I think that's next to peanuts for
And,
even people
Yeah.
struggling. That's $2 a month is a pretty easy
Yes,
contribution to make.
exactly.
Do people donate more? Like, do people can people donate more?
No.
Or do you have a limit at $2 a
No,
month?
$2.
Okay.
Because a millionaire's $2 is the same as a student's $2,
Yeah.
is the same as an entrepreneur's, as a mother's, as a student's. We are so universally affected by trauma that when you are in a situation where you are in the darkest moments of your life, your pain is the same as the person sitting next to you.
It doesn't
as
matter
the
how
person
much money you have.
No.
Yeah. It's not going to affect how much
No.
pain you're going through.
So Galen's pain, standing in the middle of the road and going through that experience and the tragic loss of his brother is no different than a mom who has lost her son in that very same car accident.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to describe, but it's a universal thing. Grief is
Everyone
it
feels
touches everyone.
Everybody feels
Is
it.
it? Have you had people who came forward and wanted to donate more that you had to say,
We
no,
have.
sorry, we can't?
Yes.
And is that partly because you want to avoid having people try to put their own influence into the
It's because
charity by giving you money?
it's a couple of different reasons, and that's a really good question. Number one, it's because we want people to realize that, oh my gosh, yes, I'm totally in this for $2 a month. You won't take more from me? Are you sure? Can I give you $100? No, but what you can do is go to your employer. Get your friends to sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask
Spread
your
the word.
coworkers. If you're in an office with 10 people
Yeah.
and all of those 10 people sign up, we can do our employee matching program where your employer can match those 10 contributions.
Yeah.
So we get one bigger contribution every month off of, the employer
Okay.
matching
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
So, and people go, oh, like, that's fabulous. I will totally do that. And they go, and we get the small accounting firms, and we get the hairstylist companies, and we get, because the beauty is that many hands make light work. So, yes, we want people to get excited. We want people to say, hey, what else can I do? Like, even on the back of our cards that we distribute, I'll go and do presentations at, businesses. They want me to come in and talk with them. I'm there. You want me to come into a staff meeting? Give me 10 minutes to explain how this works. We can get whoever you want signed
Yeah.
up. Like, it's so simple. It's so easy that it's beautifully efficient.
I think it's an amazing program. I love it.
It's incredible.
Thank
You were talking about before.
Well, I was even telling him that
We
I've
want-
talked to you about trying to start something like that up
Yes.
here before, and we've just never had the chance to sit down and
Yes.
let me know where to get started. But
Yes.
I
So-
think Ryan and I would definitely be very interested in creating something like that.
So the people who work for the charity, are you guys employed, or is it all
Oh
volunteer
gosh, no!
based?
I am a volunteer.
It's all volunteer
100%.
based, yeah.
We don't have any paid positions.
Okay.
Every single dollar that comes into us, I mean, we're pulling such a small amount from
Yeah.
each person that every single dollar that we get, we try and make sure that the families are the recipients of that. So we have our expenses like anybody else. We have, our flyers that we have that people sign up with. We have our business cards. We have, a poster that I'll bring to set up with me at the farmer's market or whatever. But we really try and either get those things donated to us or have people work with us to provide those things for us. And actually, I'm super excited because that brings us to our next thing. We were just picked up by the Bellingham Roller Betties. I know that I have, worked with the Betties for many years. The Betties are a nonprofit organization of, I don't even know how to describe them. I don't know how to start. They're a roller derby league,
Yep.
and they're a nonprofit organization. And every year, they take on a community partner that they work with to donate funds to, because they're strong believers in community, and they want to be able to put money back into the community. And this year, they've chosen Pass the Hat as their community organization that they're going to work with. So I am over the moon, because here's my derby universe. Here's my Pass the Hat universe.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're holding hands and we're going to sing Kumbaya about it. Like, it's going to be great. So they're donating funds to us, and we're going to be receiving our first bit in the next month, and we're getting set up with all of our PR materials that we need in order to be at every roller derby bout, which starts next month. Our bouts start.
You used to participate in the roller derby?
Photography.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done it.
You were never really the super physical one out of the group, were you?
No. No. I've been.
Yeah, inflicting pain doesn't seem like your.
No.
cup of tea.
I've been their team league photographer for several years. My partner Kim and I share those duties together, and roller derby has just enriched my life in so many ways. I can't even.
Tell us about it.
My gosh.
I don't think we have a roller derby round. I think I remember years and years ago.
There's one here. One of Kiv's ex-girlfriend's roller derby.
Used to be in it?
Yeah, I can't
You know
remember
what?
the name
Actually,
is.
we went years ago in Abbotsford with a bunch of guys off our baseball team.
There's
just to
leagues
check it out.
everywhere, guys.
Yeah,
But
there's a
they're-
league here.
They're in
Yeah,
Abbotsford, they're in
you
Chilliwack, they're in Vancouver. There's
Yeah, really?
Oh yeah, it's
I haven't seen
yeah.
anything about one for a long, long time besides like photos you post or whatever.
I can
well,
show
that's
you some
interesting
stuff.
because they are I mean, just like us, most of these leagues are all nonprofit. These are all, community-based organizations that do a lot of good work in the communities. So it's really exciting to be on board with BRB, and it's just, I can't even tell you how amazing it is. I can't even tell you. I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good that you guys are going to be all working together on that. So, for example, with them now coming to, are they just going to be helping you guys spread the word or
Yes.
do an employee match, or what responsibility will you let them take on if you don't have the mass donations?
Their goal in pulling the community partners in is to take a community-based organization that does good works and to give them a face and a name and support and encouragement and to lift us up. So they are not only providing us with a donation, they're also, which hasn't been determined at this point, but usually it's significant enough to really help out a family, And we're going to be participating in every one of their bouts. We're going to have a table set up with all of our information with people with the ability to sign up right then and there. We're going to have families there who have been helped by Pass the Hat, who want to share the story with people that come into the bouts. We bout once a month, and I think we've got 6 bouts this year. And actually, a couple months we've got 2 bouts just because of the way that the weeks work. And, we have pretty good attendance. So when there's a few hundred people in one room that all have, sights on us that can talk to us and interact with us, and our volunteer board members will be there to staff the table. We'll have families there to share their stories about how Pass the Hat has helped them. We'll have, information there about families that we've helped that they can pick up and read. Somebody who's more tactile can, separate themselves and read the stories a bit, because it's pretty emotional when you're sharing this stuff with people, because as excited as they get, there's a lot of people who have their own story, and it can, bring that emotion to the surface, and they want to share that, so I've had a lot of moments in the library,
The whole
in the
setup
grocery store.
of it all, it just seems so perfect. Being such a easy thing to contribute to, as well as how many people it helps. It just
Yeah.
seems like, you guys say it can spread through your whole county, but it just
Yes.
brings a whole sense of community
Yes.
and togetherness, right?
Yes. And that's exactly what it does. And you asked about contributors. We have anywhere between 800 and 1,000 contributors right now, because it falls off. Our biggest issue is people's credit cards expire and they don't get them signed back up. So the biggest help for us is the people that connect with us right away and say, my card, it was compromised. I want to sign back up, and those people are amazing. And every time I get a phone call
I had
from somebody.
When mine canceled, I didn't sign back up.
Yes. See, it's the biggest
I don't even
issue.
know if I don't think I signed up. I was going to do that.
I was signed up for it before, and then I got rid of my CIBC credit card, and I
Yeah.
completely didn't even think about that, because
Yeah.
it's not something you really look at your statement. And,
Right. Because
it's just
you forget about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you range between 2,000 and 1,000 and 2,000 basically
Yep.
per month that
Yep.
you guys. And how much do you usually have end up allocating per
It depends on the situation. Yeah.
what they need?
Yes, exactly.
How many people?
So to date, we have helped 77 families since inception, because it's been around for 3.5 years.
That's incredible.
77 families have been lifted up by this organization. 77 people have their stories. 66 of those families have been in the tragic loss of life, and 11 of those families have been fire loss, losing their homes, where we'll go and buy them beds and furniture and comforters and pillows and blankets because they're in a home where they don't have those things, right away. So
That's incredible.
counseling costs, we've paid for people to participate in grief counseling who don't have any other resources or means in order to do that, because it's, grief affects you long after the incident,
Right.
So we've been there for a lot of different circumstances.
1,428 contributing and counting.
That's
The
not
website.
current.
No?
We have volunteers who take care of the website as well.
So you have a volunteer who does the website stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'd love
Yeah.
to have someone take
Yeah.
care of our website stuff.
Yes.
Get on a publicist.
Actually,
Yeah.
How often are you meeting with your appropriations committee, your director committee?
Right. So we have a board, and our board members meet 4 times a year.
Okay.
And we say that on paper, but really we're in constant communication. Those board members are the ones that are responsible for our PR, our mission, our making sure all our ducks are in a row, our taxes, our accounts. Those are the people that are the guts of the organization.
Right.
Our appropriations committee is a committee of people who represent different organizations in the county. So we have Red Cross
Okay.
representation, we have United Way representation, we
So
have...
if there is something, somebody can come to you and say, hey, this would be a good person to help. Is that how that would work?
Do you mean for somebody to want to be on the appropriations committee?
No, like if somebody was struggling and needed like a financial aid through, and they were in contact with Red Cross, somebody could come to pass the
Yes.
hat and relay that information.
Yes, we have had
suggest-
that happen. But most of the people that come to us that are in need, who apply for funds, are people who the support officers have worked with directly.
Okay.
Because there's an organization, like I say, when anybody calls 911, we have another nonprofit organization called the Whatcom County Support Officers, and the lead of that organization is on our appropriations committee. And so anytime that there is a traumatic circumstance, they dispatch a support officer at the same time as they dispatch other first responders.
Okay.
So when that support officer is on the scene, they know what's happened, they know what the circumstances are, and they'll know if there's somebody who requires us or not. It's a seamless process. It works so beautifully, and when we meet once a month, there might be a case that comes up that we can't wait the month. If it happens near the beginning of the month or right after our most recent meeting, and we'll have online discussions and votes to figure out if this is somebody, to make it happen as quickly as possible, because we don't need
So right away, once you see an application, things are always kind of just in motion.
They're always in motion. They're always moving. We're in constant communication.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is
It just
crazy.
seems like such a smooth flow, good thing.
It is. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And my kids, they come with me to the meetings, and they're so great about it. And they'll do their homework in the hallway, because obviously it's conversation that they probably shouldn't hear.
Don't need to be listening to.
No, but the fact is that everything that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to remember that I'm being a leader for these little people, and they're looking and seeing that, okay, mom is spending a lot of her time doing stuff that doesn't have anything to do with us, and
It's hard as a young person to understand sometimes.
yeah.
right. But at the same time,
Sorry.
no, I have my 14-year-old and my 12-year-old and my 9-year-old come up to me and say, Mom, we think it's really special that you do this. And what they understand as well is that it's not just about me. The biggest part of me doing this Pass the Hat stuff, and the hardest part for me, is that when people want to interview me, or when they want to, discuss me, my first response is to say, it's not about me. And I know that I'm just the messenger about this amazing organization that I happen to be the front person for. It's about every single person in this contributorship, because my $2 is the same as yours, It's every single time we help a family, the people who contribute made that happen. Not me.
As long as you, being the front person, as long as you are you need someone who
Right.
who can talk to the
Absolutely.
media to promote it, right?
Yes.
But as long as people can see by your actions and by what they're doing that it's not about you,
Yeah.
which clearly
Yeah.
you can see that, then it doesn't matter that you're the front person and you're the
Right.
one being interviewed. Because
Yep.
if you don't have that charismatic person or someone who can communicate with the media effectively,
Yeah.
it's gonna fall.
Yes.
It's not actually gonna succeed.
Yes.
So-
And now we're so fortunate to have people, when we have, on our board, people who are just amazing and so inspiring and so excited to share the message. And the more people we have that become our ambassadors and who want to take our mission into the community and share that, that is the genuine beauty of what this is. Like it's ownership by so many. It's such a gift, you guys.
Yeah.
It's such a gift.
Definitely.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. There's no better feeling.
Yeah.
We had some fun going downtown.
Some people will you hear that argument that, well, then you're not doing it for other people. If you're getting gratification out of it, you're not doing it.
Right.
Well, no, that has nothing to do with it.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself because of what you're doing for other people.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it because you truly want to help them,
Yeah.
well, you feeling good about it is just a byproduct. And why would you stop doing it if it makes you feel good?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know. I've never understood that argument.
Sorry, I'm looking for the Pass the Hat website. It's
I'm on it right
It's
now.
pass-the-hat.org.
.org. I feel like I'm on it, but it's not.
No, that's not it.
No, it's not coming up.
I guess. I think
There we go. Yeah, perfect.
the most
Oh,
important.
Matthew, can we shut the window? I'm freezing.
No,
I'm trying not to tremble.
It is cool in here now. It's so warm. Yeah, it warms up quick.
You guys generate some
Well, we had
heat.
4 people in here before, and even still, I'm sweating. He's sweating, and the
We've been
moms
sitting-
were like, "It's kind of cold in here. It's kind of cold."
Yeah, so if anybody listening and would like to take a look at Pass
Yes,
the Hat,
go to the website.
pass-the-hat.org and check it out. It's $2 a month. It's right across the border,
Yes.
and it's obviously a great thing that you guys have going here. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you want to come to a roller derby bout,
Yeah, roller derby, bro.
we're only at Wacom Community College.
If you're going down across the border for gas and milk, go check out a roller derby bout.
Well, I don't think many people are doing that now because of the dollar.
Yeah, the dollar kind of
really
stinks.
not
It's still cheaper, but I don't know how efficiently cheaper.
Time
You gotta
and
be close
everything
enough.
Put into it.
Time-wise, I mean,
If you have Nexus, I'm sure. Now, I think I'm gonna get Nexus.
Well, you can't. Well, yeah, you can't go grocery shopping and come back through Nexus though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, you can't have anything that you're going to declare. I think that's the rule.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What
If you
about-
just
What about if you're just doing I guess you can't even do.
doing a podcast and then going home.
Go
Yeah.
down to a podcast. Well, if you're down for like
We
2
could do a
days,
live
I'm sure you
podcast
still
at a derby.
could.
Be a good one.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
Interview some derby,
interview
some roller
derby.
derby.
Guys,
Pass
you'd be
the
more
hat
than
people.
welcome.
That's something
Good idea.
we should definitely look into this summer. I think that'd be a ton of fun.
I could
It's a
totally
summer
hook you up.
sport? Just-
No, so we start bouting. Oh God, I wish I don't have the schedule with me.
What's it? what's it
But I
called?
think
can
our
look it
last
up.
one, it's go to the Bellingham Roller Betties. And then it'll have our bout schedule up there. But we go into June. June 20-something is our last bout. That'll be the championship bout. But we'll have a table for Pass the Hat set up there. You can chew your lunch, Matt. That's okay.
I'm gonna cough. Turkey piece was driving.
Okay.
But yeah,
so
you'll see
the
me
hot-
there, and I'll be shooting the whole time because I'm out on the track. But
How did you get involved with doing the photography for?
for BRB, I met my partner Kim at a Boy Scout event, and I had my camera and she had her camera, and we were talking about that, and just struck up a conversation with her, and she told me about her sister that was skating with the league, and I think she had done it for a few months.
Okay.
And she said, "Do you want to come and shoot with me? Do you want to come take photographs?" Sure, why not? You know, it's another one of those things where you just be receptive to whatever comes along, and why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I rarely say no, and maybe I need to do that more, but
Is it something you is a profession? Your photography?
No.
Just for fun. You don't sell any of your pictures or do anything?
No, no, I sell no prints. I recruit nobody. I am my one man.
Which is incredible because I've shown Ryan some of your photos.
That's a whole other conversation in itself, because photography to me is my happy place.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exploration of light and mood and depth and perspective that has been waging a war in my brain for the last decade and far before that. It's been a process that I've come to really naturally over the last forever. And starting to photograph other people, roller derby actually brought me to the place where I've connected the most with what I want to photograph. And that's why I've been more, producing more work and going forward in that way. But derby has definitely opened that door for me.
The violence is what you enjoy.
No. Roller derby is exceptional. Like, to talk a little bit more about that, it's
the 13th, or the March 6th or March 12th looks like the first bout of season 9.
Yes.
Before we get, do you feel like if you did kind of turn it into a profession and start getting paid, you would lose that level of
100%?
Yeah. Okay.
So you ever heard the thing where somebody's trying to be funny and somebody says there's a million comedians at work and you're trying to be funny?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's the way I've come to photography, and it's been something that is so personal for me, that sharing it with other people, number one, is exceptionally difficult. Like, you're putting your heart out there, and there's a million photographers who are way more talented than me, who are way better at, marketing and going out there and
It's a big part of it.
Oh man, like
it's all subjective though, an opinion, right? Someone
yes,
might think
absolutely.
You're the best photographer they've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm just being honest. That's
how
the
I
way it
feel.
is. Some people will look at yours and compare it to the.
I see a lot of the different work that you do, though, right?
Yeah.
The different whole aspects. So
Yeah.
I guess if anybody ever kind of clicked on one of your pages and just saw a certain subject, but
Yeah. So Matt, you just hit the nail on the head, because I take photographs and I'm not just out to make a pretty picture. What draws me into the type of photography that I do is the connection that's created. And there's something really, I don't even know the right word to say. It's a gift. They're giving me this experience. The people that I photograph, the subjects that I photograph, they're inviting me into a space that they have never let anybody into before. And that's an intense privilege. And
it definitely is. Yeah.
It's something that I've created so many of these images and never shared them, because number one, they're not created for anybody else but the person I create them for.
Right.
And number two, they're so personal for me at the same time that it's like, I don't know. When somebody writes a poem, are they putting it online right away for everybody to see?
For the world, or they...
When you make a journal entry, are you putting that piece of your heart down on paper?
A lot of people are these days.
And then closing that book and having that sit on your nightside table? I journal as well. And, you don't see me putting my journal entries online and saying, hey, everybody,
Trying to sell a journal.
like my journal entry.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about my photography as I do my journaling, my writing, my kids, my husband. It's a love affair I have. And when I
do it for you.
I guess
I do.
sometimes
you're not doing it to make so other people give you the validation of how good it is. You're
No.
doing it for yourself.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes I forget that I probably have the privilege of seeing everything you post, where I know you keep pretty strict lists.
I do.
On
I have
certain people seeing
Yeah.
things. So when I see everything posted, I don't immediately think that
Yes.
that's kind of portrayed to everybody.
Because that's not a public deal.
Not a
When
public
you
deal
see
at
it,
all,
you
yeah.
know that I chose you to see that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else knows that. So now we're telling everybody who's listening
Sorry about that.
that I am very.
I love your blogs. I love.
Thank you.
I loved reading them.
Thank
They're
you.
very
That's
well
hard for
written.
me to share too. But what brought me to that point was I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, Polly, who said, do what you can't not do.
because I was torn about whether or not to do this or whether or not to do that. And I'm such a heart forward person, and I'm kind of a shit show. Oh, can I swear?
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of.
Are the kids listening at home?
We are not censored.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
No, it's nothing they haven't heard at home. Put your earmuffs on,
If
kids.
the children are listening at home, shoot me a message on Facebook.
I'm pretty emotional. You know, I'm emotionally driven, and I'm contact driven. So that's the only thing I'm ever doing anything for, is to make connections with people. So my friendships are fiercely loyal and fiercely true. And I don't have anything superficial. Well, you know, I'm sure I have lots of superficial relationships, but the people that are in my tribe, who are in my circle, who see everything, they see everything. And like Facebook is an amazing tool because it allows me to stay in contact with friends and family and have all of my universes together, my Pass the Hat universe, my Derby universe, my work universe, you know, when I'm gainfully employed to actually earn money. It's a really powerful tool because you have all these people together in one room, and you have to be appropriate for every one of those audiences. So when I say to my kid who says, "Hey, Mom, when can I get Facebook?" Well, when you can have your teacher, your auntie, your nana, your employer when you get a job, your neighbor, when you can have all these people over for dinner at the same time and have them all sit around your dinner table and have an appropriate conversation with each one of them together, then you can have Facebook.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point. Do you're very outgoing and forward with everything that you do. Do you ever run into problems with people that are frowning upon all the different things that you do? Or
that's
I'm always curious because you say you're outgoing, you have fierce relationships, and like, I know being family, some of us in our family we get like that. We're very out there, and we can connect deeply with people, and sometimes some people will look at that do you ever take any feedback or?
I'm sure a lot of people think that I'm just I don't even know the right word. I think what people take away from me is that I'm authentic and I mean well, and I have the best of intentions with everything that I do. And as long as they see that, they can kind of look past the, she's got a crazy schedule and she takes on way too much crap and you're doing something else for free. And,
why would anybody ever let that reflect poorly in an opinion of somebody?
We have a problem with that, and it's getting worse and worse with social media, where we're not judging people based on their actual values and how they treat people. We're judging them by
what you decide
superficial
to judge
things.
them by.
So you bring up a really good point, because when I started to blog and when I started to share my blog with people, I thought, oh my God, it's the same as coming up with a photography page. What am I going to call it? Amy Woodward Photography. Nobody gives a crap about me. Nobody, I don't mean people trying, that sounded wrong, but why would I put my name on something?
Well, Happy Naughts cares, Amy.
Happy Naughts cares.
There's so many people out there you're not reinventing the wheel. Your life is not perfect. No. You're not going out there to convince everybody that you have got everything made. It's when I first started writing and I first started sharing it, to call it perfectly flawed, because I think those are the people that connect with what I say the most, because I connect most with people who are genuine and honest and have, an appreciation for other people who are genuine and honest. We all, unfortunately, rank ourselves based on what we see others bring into our space. So when we see, everybody, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to Hawaii, I just bought a brand new car, my kid just got straight A's, I think that's wonderful, good for you, oh my God, that's so exciting, you get to go to Cancun, or your kid, you're so proud of your kid, that's wonderful. There's always going to be the person who's going to be like, they're just bragging, or they're just showing this perfect life, they're just showing everything that's A+ that happened within that day. And people are using social media for different things. Some people are using it to vent. Some people are using it to just be a highlight reel. Yeah. Right? I appreciate all those things because I love people's successes. I love to see what's really working for you in your life. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. You got a new job. You had a great date night with your husband. That's really super. I had fucking Fritos and spent the night by myself and had stale pizza, but that's really awesome that you got to connect with your loved one. And
see, I guess I look at it completely differently.
I feel like the number of people who just accept the positivity that people try to portray is just decreasing every single day, and it's getting lower and lower more.
It's harder and harder to simply be happy with what you have, because you're consistently bombarded with everybody else's achievements or whatever, and it's all how you look at it.
Yes,
but I guess I look at it more, in my opinion, the people who are constantly posting their triumphs.
Yes.
But I mean triumphs, I mean like things that are like normal things that people go through in life.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes those are people who really need some attention, and it's not.
Or it gives them a happy place.
Yeah, exactly. And I might not agree with posting of that kind of stuff, and I might not do that myself.
Right.
But then I just don't worry about it.
Okay, so brings us to the next
forward.
point. Yeah. When I share stuff that's like some of the photographs that I share, or some of the stories or the writings that I share, somebody might look at it and go, "Oh my God, why are you sharing that?
Yeah.
That's so personal," or "That's so, shut the hell up, like get over yourself," right? Yep. So that brings me back to the question that you just asked. Are you ever getting feedback or flack from people who say, "What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing, Aim?" I'm torn, because part of me never, ever, ever wants to share a photograph my whole life. Ever. I want to hoard them. I want to print them and roll around in them and have them be my happy space,
Your very own, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other part of me, after, that's another thing we can talk about, is the community that I'm so, thrilled to be a part of. The photographic community that I belong to is so genuinely supportive, and we all embrace one another, and we all are so thrilled for each other's successes and growth, and how amazing to be a part of a group.
And assistance that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's even trying to learn when, like, you encouraged me to get a camera and learn.
Yes.
You were kind of one of the only people I had to talk to about it, so there'll be times where your interest flails a little, but then you get out and take a couple of pictures that aren't so bad, and then it's it rekindles your interest. But having a group like that for support,
and when you have somebody to connect with, it where that does give you that positive feedback. So I guess that's what brings me back to, there is, some of the stuff is questionable that you share, because you meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Right? Like if they want to share that with you, you got to meet them where they're at. And sharing has been hands down the hardest thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. Taking the photographs isn't hard. Taking the photographs is heaven on earth. Connecting with the people that I connect with, the subjects that I connect with, they enrich me. Mm-hmm. I walk away from that session a different person, because they're giving you pieces of themselves. Mm-hmm. You can't underestimate.
It's hard to find.
It's probably hard for a lot of people to understand that.
Yes.
That aspect of it, right?
Yes. Yes.
How you feel that way when you leave a shoot.
Yes.
I don't understand it at all. I can't process how that would feel to walk away from something and feel like someone left a part of themselves.
Yes.
And they're empowered. Mm-hmm. Some of the photographs I take are nude, some are not nude. Some look like they're more sexually based. Some look like they're more, meditative and in nature. And there's kind of, when somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to have a boudoir session." Well, I don't really think about it as boudoir, because typical boudoir is full hair and makeup and every shadow is filled, and you just, a lot of skin work, a lot of Photoshop work, nips and tucks. And if that's what you want, I totally have really talented friends that I can send you to. Mm-hmm. But I don't do that because it's
not real to you.
Right. And because I'm not getting paid.
Yeah. You want to do the stuff that means the most to you, or that you can actually put your heart and soul into.
Right. So that's where the idea of Raw and Real came about, because the people that we photograph are so raw when they get into the session and realize what it's about. And they're so real that there's the posturing falls away. And you're left with this really
profound experience where you get to share that with somebody. I mean, they're sharing it with me, you know, and they walk out of that session really moved by what's happened. And sometimes the photographs are more sexual in nature because they look kind of like the tone of the photograph, you know, might be what you see on a boudoir website or another photographer who shoots boudoir.
I think you've spent any time looking at your pictures so you can...
It's about the connection.
You can tell the difference.
It's about the connection.
Sure,
the people that come to me aren't coming to me to say, well, sometimes they are, you know, I want to create this for my partner. Well, how about just creating it for you?
Yeah. And then if you want to share it with them,
it's not about your partner. You know, when the people that see my images and connect with the images come to me for a reason, because something speaks to them from that, right? Like they're the feeling that whatever photograph made them feel in whatever way, that's the beauty, right? So I know that they're coming to me because of the way that they felt when they saw an image that I had created. That's wonderful.
This whole thing you're talking about, it makes me like, you always hear people say, "Oh, I'm not photogenic. Oh, she or he's so photogenic." Do you feel like that is more about the photographer than it is about that person? Because
okay, so we can get all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
I can make anybody look hot.
I don't think it's necessarily about. I think some people just maybe don't want to see themselves from a certain angle, so they kind of look at it as an excuse.
Well, I did a photo shoot. I was thinking about getting into modeling a while back, and honestly, I thought about it. I put my pictures that I did with this one girl, and they were nice pictures. But honestly, just this conversation has kind of made me realize this now. I never felt comfortable the whole time.
Yeah.
And when I look at the pictures, I can see that. Like, there's a couple good ones where I did feel all right, but most of them, I'm just like, I look like I'm just like, I don't know what to do.
So
okay,
much,
seriously?
so much
that's
perception.
exactly what I'm talking about. There's a moment that happens, and it's chilling. The room fills with electricity. You can feel when that person finally comes to the place where they blossom. They give themselves to the process. They open themselves up. It's very difficult because it's not just snapping pictures and taking pretty pictures. It's great with families and babies and weddings, and you know, like you're photographing these people with the posturing on. But when you get to the point where you're able to let that slip away, it's hard work. I mean, sometimes people can get there within, 10 minutes, and sometimes people get there, it takes a couple hours.
How many photos would you take in a session, roughly?
Oh.
I know we've probably talked about this, but you should share this with people.
I had a raw and real session 2 nights ago, and I took 600 frames. But it was largely due to my excitement. I presented her with 120 frames, and she's going to choose her top 30 out of that.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Just about out of time here.
Yes.
Is Dion coming?
I don't know. I haven't heard from him. We might.
Do you want to... are you out of time? Do you have to get home?
Oh, I'm good. My kids are dealt with.
Do you want to maybe just throw on... take a break here?
Well, we can. I just wanted to jump in and see. I'll message her right now and see. But I was curious. Have you heard of David Steinberg? Have you heard that name before?
No.
He's a photographer. I was just listening to a podcast the other day by Christopher Ryan.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote a book called This Thing We Call Sex.
Uh-huh.
And he actually takes... He is hired by couples to take pictures of them making love or whatever sexual acts they want to do.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting. There's
a big market for it.
I was just actually he says he does a lot of work more in, like, I guess, Norway and somewhere else over there. It's a lot
in cultures that are a lot more free with their sexuality, and
I guess. But no, I was just curious if you'd heard of him. I was just listening to it.
No, but I'm totally going to check him out now. I want you to forward me that information.
I can send you the conversation they had and the podcast, and then you can go. I'm not sure any of his links.
You guys, there's so many artists out there, and there's so many people who are incredibly talented at what they do, and I mean, I've been doing this for long enough that I feel really comfortable in my abilities, my own knowledge, skills, and abilities. And when you are creating art, you have to have this trifecta. It's the triangle. It's the exposure triangle. And instead of, Matthew, are you paying attention? ISO. What's the other one?
Aperture.
And what's the other one? Shutter speed.
It's been a while.
In order to create the connection, So if you think about the exposure as being that perfect exposure triangle, think about it as a connection. In order to create that connection, you have to have somebody who is open, right? You have to have your own personal ability to pull that, to draw that out of somebody. And you have to have love for what you're doing.
Yeah,
and that creates that perfect trifecta of the art that's created through the process, you know, and that ability to let yourself participate in the creative process, whether you're the photographer or the subject, is really important to get the kind of image that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen. So
do you ever feel like you have a failure on a shoot? You didn't accomplish what you want?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a lot of circumstances where they're happy but you're not? Or is there something else you would have liked to get out of it?
I think sometimes the biggest issue we have is people leaving a session and realizing that they didn't give themselves enough credit. Because like what you talked about earlier, to say, you know, people are showing their they think they're not photogenic. The people that come to me, 4% of the population looks like what we see on marketing billboards. Mm-hmm. The people that come to me are not people that look like marketing billboards. And they're never going to look that way. And they can go to a very talented boudoir photographer who will make them look that way. And that's amazing if that's what they want.
That's not real, though.
If that's what they want, though, Matthew, that's the thing. It's not a problem. It's empowerment. And if that makes them feel amazing and sexy and beautiful, and if that lifts them up so that they have this great relationship with their spouse because they did it for them, and it's a Valentine's thing, or it's something to spark your sex life, fantastic. If that's what it achieves for you, go for it. It's worth every penny. Do your research, find the right photographer. Don't pay somebody that just, doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah. It's worth every penny you spend if that's what your goal is. 100%. I in every way support the industry in that way. Yeah. Because people, not just women, men as well, anybody, any gender has the right to come in and feel empowered that way. But the connection that I have with it is that people who aren't necessarily looking to feel like they fit into that 4% of the cisnormative beauty standard that marketing companies sell to ourselves so that we feel like we have to purchase this mascara or this shampoo because we want to look like the people who are in the ads. Yeah. Those aren't the people that come to me. The people that come to me are people who want to connect with themselves, who want to give themselves permission to participate.
You should host a podcast.
Process. Oh, you see how excited I get?
Start a podcast.
Do you want to go to break?
No, she's coming. She's on her way. So we will. So again, let's just for anybody who's tuned in, if you want to support the Salvation Army Gateway of Hope and our walk, go to our webpage or our Facebook page.
Yes,
Happy Naughts.
My friends and family, please give them just a few bucks. They're trying to get to their goal, and I'm really excited for them.
And our friends and family also check out Amy's.
Yes,
I think we have a lot of the same friends and family.
We have links. We'll have links for it on our Facebook page and our website after today's over.
Thank you so
volunteer
much
with Gateway of Hope and all of that. We're going to play out some music. Thank you very much, for coming.
Thank you, Ryro.
Yes.
That's a great name, by the way.
Well, it's better than my other nickname.